questions for Coach here?
Jeremy, could you talk a little bit about Batuli and Taylor and what you expect from them this season as players and leaders?
You know, both of those guys have played a lot of football. In the last 18 months, I've seen them grow and develop on the field, off the field. Practice habits, just habits about really everything that they do. So I think the guys are poised to have a really good year this year. I think they've been really good leaders, and I'm excited about their future.
Jeremy, overall, just beyond player development, how much does just being in the system for the second year in a row defensively help, kind of lend itself towards improvement?
Well, the more you do something, the better you're obviously going to be at it. And, it's a lot of these guys, the second time around, I think they understand really the expectations of how to prepare for practice, meeting times, what we're looking for. So, it's been a lot smoother the second time through, and it should be. And one thing that's really helped this summer is we've got guys that actually know what they're doing. So it's been that they have been able to really help our younger guys, because they got to coach them during the summer. We don't get much of an opportunity. So I think it's helped from that standpoint.
How would you describe your feeling going into camp this year compared to where you were a year ago in terms of just how you wrap on or your feel for this roster and this team?
Well, obviously we have, much better relationships with our players. We know kind of who they are. We know what their strengths and weaknesses are. They understand, our expectations really on a daily basis. So, it's been a lot smoother in everything that we've done the second time around. So, it's been real positive.
Aubrey, D'Angelo, and Trey, what can you say about their prospects for this fall to be on the field?
Aubrey and D'Angelo, because they're transfers, you obviously have to get a waiver to have them, to be ruled eligible, and we've yet to get a ruling on that. And Trey, we're in the process with our doctors. Trey wants to play football, and they're in the process of figuring out a plan so he can be able to do that.
Jimmy, is the appeal process frustrating in any way because you're so long into that, waiting on an answer on Aubrey and D'Angelo with camp just a couple of weeks away? Is it kind of frustrating that you haven't got an answer at this point, or is it just one of those things that's just the way the process is?
No, we've not changed our approach. So, we usually practice with 3 or 4 teams anyhow, so everybody gets the same amount of reps. So it's not frustrating to me. It might be to them, but not to me.
Why did you choose to bring Jarrett to this event?
Well, he's our quarterback. I believe in Jarrett. Over the last 18 months, I've got to know who he is. The guy has lots of experience. He's a tough guy. He's got plenty of arm strength. He's a really good athlete. He understands our expectations, and I think he's been a tremendous leader over the last 6 months of this offseason.
He works in the offseason with the personal QB coach, Tony. I think you know him a little bit. Just how can that help further a guy's development when they're working with someone like that in the offseason?
Well, in the month of May, we can't have mandatory practices, or we can't have them in June and July. So anybody that wants to improve themselves and they're willing to work with somebody, I think that says a lot about them. So I think Jared's kind of a gym rat. He likes ball. I think the game comes easy to him. So I'm glad that he's working instead of not.
You said in the last 6 months he's become more of a leader. What have you seen from him in that way?
Well, I think he's more comfortable, probably with everybody around him, his surroundings. They've changed for the last 4 years every year. I think he's grown confidence. I think he feels good about his relationship with Coach Winkie, Coach Chaney. You can see that, his rapport with his teammates, he has influence on them.
How did your experience as a transfer color your point of view in the transfer debate over this offseason?
Well, I don't know what the transfer debate is.
Just how to handle it. How would you like to handle it based on your own experience? What would you like the rules to look like?
Well, I'm not going to make the rules. I just follow the rules. I think it's our job as coaches, and I think everybody's understands the aspect of transferring. You know, the first thing is the mental wellness of the student athlete. So, you know, not everybody makes the best decision, or maybe it was something that they didn't think it was. So, you know, when they do elect to transfer, I think now there's probably more opportunity than there was, you know, several years ago. But I think everybody has the best interest of the student athletes.
With Jarrett's development, will he have a little bit more responsibility at the line of scrimmage in terms of getting sliding protections and high reads and things like changing plays, things like that?
You know, Jarrett, I said before, football really comes easy to him, so he gets the game. You know, he's a smart guy. He can handle a lot. So, you know, the more we can put on him at the line of scrimmage, it's going to make our offense more effective.
Where's Juwan right now with his health? Is he going to be full go to start?
Yeah, Juwan's fine.
What's the biggest thing you want to see kind of from your team when you guys start training camp? You talk about how there's been a smoother transition this offseason with Fitz and the guys kind of knowing the expectations of what to do. So when you guys hit the field that day one, what's kind of the biggest thing you're hoping to see out there?
Well, you're going to see guys that obviously have retained some knowledge from spring ball, because guys have now been in place kind of for a year. Guys are not swapping around different positions, so you won't carry over. I believe we'll see that. You know, the tempo, the competition. We've got much more. We've got many more bodies out there, so we do have competition now. We were able to kind of practice the right way in the spring, and there's more guys. We've added 23 guys, so there should be lots more competition, which will make us all better.
What do you know about Darnell, Henry, some of those guys that arrived in the summer? Obviously, you guys are limited in the summertime, but have they impressed you guys to this point?
Well, I've not been around them a whole lot. You know, out on the field. You know, we're not allowed to, so just in the weight room, just getting a little bit of feedback. I think the guys are what we thought they are. They're guys that you know, have really good character. They have good athletic ability, and they're willing to work. And you know, so like all incoming freshmen, you know, you got to have realistic expectations for them, and they are freshmen, and they'll be better players their junior and senior year than they are right now. But they're guys that have plenty of ability that could help us in the fall.
Two more questions.
Maybe the same kind of question there. You know, it's with that defensive line, obviously, you know, having to replace all those guys from last year, and it's such a big developmental kind of offseason for that position group. What kind of feedback have you gotten about those guys on the D line and their kind of physical development and everything?
You know, really, the guys are in really good shape. You know, Craig's done a really nice job with them. They've worked really hard. You know, we had 60 guys that stayed during May mini-term, and a lot of them were the D linemen. So, but the thing these guys lack is playing time in the SEC level. So we have one senior on the defensive line and one junior. So there's lots of inexperience, and they're not going to get that till they go out there and play.
Jeremy, with Derek there to call the plays on defense, how does that change your role, and does that free you up to do some other things?
Well, the one thing about being a defensive play caller, you know, you kind of get in a rhythm of a game. So after every series, you go over there and you go over every play that the offense just went through. So as you're going back through it, you kind of sometimes you can see a pattern, or you can kind of predict a little bit about what's going to happen next. You know, so you get a feel on how to call the game. One thing as a head coach, and you're managing the game, you're not over there going over every play that the offense just went through, so it probably puts you at a disadvantage, and I think this is something that's going to help improve our football team by giving Derek an opportunity to do this.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you all.